Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, and still laughing at GOP members attempting to spin a surge in Black Friday spending as a bad thing for the economy. But I guess we shouldn't get finance tips from the person with the closed restaurant who attempted to deduct 1.5 times the circumference of the earth in mileage. George Santos swirls the drain like a box of Rudy Giuliani hair dye as he expects to be expelled, but it's clear he won't be going down as easy as Lauren Boebert after one act and a plastic cup of Chardonnay. George Santos says he'll wear his expulsion like a badge of honor and says, "I'll be expelled because people simply did not like me." But the ethics report isn't an opinion piece, and Santos took to Twitter to host a 3-hour Spaces audio chat where he accused the GOP of adultery, insider trading, and more. I'll be getting into George Santos Katara Goldbergstein's wild remarks, Donald Trump getting booed at a college football game, and the important thing that many people are missing about that and more. But first, this.
One of my great heroes, the great Jedi Master himself, Master Yoda. The dark side is very powerful in Biden. Crooked is he. Your country, he does not care. The force is strong in Trump. When he must, help him you can. Caucus for him you shall. For without his victory, all hope is lost. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Make sure you get there on January 15th.
Yoda going after Biden is about as real as God cheering on Trump. Star Wars fans, I apologize for that. He sounded more Jar Jar Binks than Yoda. It amazes me that he uses a bad Yoda impression to intro Trump when Republicans are constantly compared to the Empire, and the people that actually make Star Wars, like Luke Skywalker himself, is hugely critical of the defeated former president. It is pouring MAGA tears. Thanks for joining me for my take on the clown car racing into another mountain of hot garbage. Laugh along with the excellent people in the comments while I mock the latest in stupid and more. Donald Trump was booed by college football fans at Williams-Brice Stadium. On top of this greeting, more than a half a dozen huge digital billboards in Columbia also displayed, "You lost, you're guilty, welcome to Columbia, Donald." I have used my Soros technology to tap into that SUV to hear what he was saying because it's inaudible, but thanks to this technology, I've made it possible.
You know, I totally love football so much, I destroyed the USFL. I hope nobody takes a knee, unless it's a hot cheerleader. I used to run beauty pageants, teens, but we've got to stop the Democrat sickos, right? What's the holdup, dum-dum?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Do you think they can smell my diaper? I just want a hot dog and a Diet Coke. This airport is crazy.
Thanks, Biden.
Are we there yet? Everything's orange. They're gonna think I painted my face for the game. Terrific, we're moving. So do we get the hamburgers at the next window then?
Now, the one important thing I gotta note here that everyone has missed when discussing this incident is look where Trump is, okay? Remember when Cassidy Hutchinson was talking about Trump grabbing the wheel and the right wing exploded saying how it would be impossible for him to access it? Well, there you go. He may as well be sitting up front between these two, okay? His arm could easily have turned that wheel, grabbed it, honked it, done whatever.
I know you've been reluctant to say who you're going to vote for, but are you leaving the door open to voting for Joe Biden if it's between the two of them?
I will say my door is completely shut to voting for Donald Trump. And the only reason that I will not endorse a candidate right now is because I still am hopeful that Donald Trump does not end up being the nominee next year. I think our country will be in a much better place overall, not just for myself, but the ticket and the future of our country will be. But what I will say, too, though, is I think everybody should vote for Joe Biden if they want our democracy to survive.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the girl that was in the room when hamburgers were hitting the walls over a guy doing a bad Yoda impression to convince voters to be all in for Trump again. Thank you. I see every tip from pennies to dollars. They are hugely appreciated and help make this show possible. If you love what I do here and you can afford to help out, throw me a buck with the PayPal link in the pinned comment or drop me a super thanks with this button. And please take 2 seconds after this video to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. These things are free and help the show grow. Thank you. The House Ethics Committee issued a report on George Santos detailing his criminal activity, and now many members of his caucus have expressed intention to change their votes and back a motion to expel George Santos, Anthony DeVolder, Qatar Goldbergstein from Congress. Santos says that I'll be expelled because people simply do not like me. But as I said, the ethics report is not an opinion piece. The detailed report accuses Santos of having repeatedly funneled money through his campaign, a PAC, and LLCs under his purview towards paying for personal expenses such as Botox, personal credit card bills, over $4,000 at Hermes, plus a string of purchases on OnlyFans, Sephora, and parking. Santos faked campaign loans, diverted campaign money, and the fake loans helped him inflate his 2020 campaign's final cash-on-hand totals, which he then reported to the FEC. A truly interesting note in the report is that in December 2021, Santos' own staff showed him their 141-page vulnerability report that they had prepared on him, noting questions about his finances and that there was zero evidence to support his claims that he graduated from NYU with an MBA or that he graduated from Baruch College with a Bachelor of Economics or Finance. Campaign staff encouraged Santos to drop out of the race, and when he refused, 3 staffers quit his campaign altogether. This is someone who isn't just a pathological liar, he believes his own lies. Now, George Santos pulled a Madison Cawthorn and is trying to claw at every eye and ear on the way out. For those that don't remember, Madison spilled the booze and lube on the party of family values and all the hard partying they do. The then North Carolina Republican congressman said that the Netflix series House of Cards was accurate and that he's been invited to orgies and that he's seen anti-drug Republicans do white powder in front of him. I know Republicans aren't known for being inclusive, but I'm not sure if inviting someone in a wheelchair to an orgy is super nice or super mean. At the time, Kevin McCarthy said Cawthorn's comments were exaggerated. So, what was it then? A 3-way? I don't get it. Santos spent 3 hours speaking on Spaces. Now, nobody sane needs to hear that much Santos, but I'll share a couple snippets and quote some of the transcripts.
Who has no real track record of trading. And the moment this member took on one of the most powerful committees in the United States House of Representatives, this member has been able to outperform every single pointed measure of stock trading this year so far. I mean, talk about insider trading. And there's so much proof to just pinpoint to dates and times of when trades happen and when information was bought in front of that specific committee.
Okay, well, it takes one scammer to catch another. So if Santos has his eyes on these trades and information, I hope we get some names. Things could get very messy. And I am assuming that this is targeted. He's going after anyone that spoke out against him.
Because I don't want to work with a bunch of hypocrites. It's gross. I have colleagues who are more worried about getting drunk every night with the next lobbyist that they're going to screw and pretend like none of us know what's going on and sell off the American people, not show up to vote because they're too hungover or whatever the reason is, or not show up to vote at all and just give their card out like candy for someone else to vote for them. This happens every single week. Where are the ethics investigations and that? That breaks House rules.
Well, he definitely makes it sound like a proper pay-to-play piss-up. In fact, if this were a show, I'd love to see it. And Madison Cawthorn did say House of Cards was accurate. If this activity is rampant and Santos truly is going down, I would not be surprised if he started to drop specifics. This is the guy that recently ran through the Capitol building screaming, holding a baby. He's not exactly one to hold back. Yes, that is a fantastic balloon of George Santos outside the Capitol. And my only complaint is that this was not included in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Where were you people? This would have been amazing. They could have had it burst right in front of the Trump Tower. That would have been beautiful. Santos went on to say, reporters don't care about adultery anymore. And trust me, there's been plenty of it this Congress. But nobody writes about it anymore because George Santos is here. They should look at it this way. With George being around, a lot of this stuff is going under the rug because none of the reporters write about it anymore. I'm just putting that out there because I think it's relevant. Well, I think that the recent adultery with MTG and Boebert has been well publicized, but infidelity is not grounds for expulsion, though it doesn't do the party of family values any favors, and it is a lot different than the laundry list of things Santos has done and did do to get elected under false pretenses. Other highlights include Santos describing himself as the Republican it girl, as well as the Mary Magdalene of the United States Congress, and that it's done when I say it's done. And I guess that's him hinting that when he's expelled, because it's about to happen, he's not going to go away quietly. This is just the start of him turning on the others. For those new to the show, I'm glad you found me. Thank you. For a year, I've been reading a genuine page from Lauren Boebert's book. This really is a ton of fun. I only do it once a week, and it's been pretty wild. Let's get back to it. I remember lying in the snowy bed of the truck as Jason fishtailed through red lights, throwing beer cans at the homeless. I giggled each time I heard the ding. It really took me back, since this was one of those things we do when we started dating. Grab a box of Coors from Walmart and hum those silver trophies out the window at people. Jason had a sophisticated point system depending on where you hit and applied it to a sliding scale that varied based on age, gender, race, outfit, and hairstyle. He printed off the chart and kept it in the glove box next to the cream for his sores and the parking tickets. At first, I thought it was a little mean. And then he educated me that it doesn't really hurt, and they get to take the can and trade it in for money. I hate recycling, but this was different. We were helping people one empty beer in the back of the head at a time. Well, at least I thought I was. Turns out my husband felt he could bring policies back from his time in Michigan, along with the Calvin and Hobbes Kid Rock tattoo and the fungus on his lip that he hides with the facial hair. I was feeling left out and a little thirsty, so I slid open the back window and said, "Can?" He fumbled for another brew while navigating the icy streets. "How's Mountain Dew?" I asked. Jason popped the ashtray open. "Napping!" His little hamster face put a smile on mine so big that I was concerned because I really didn't want to stretch my face and make my chin any sharper, so I did my best to clench it closed. And if you're reading this thinking, hamster in an ashtray? That's so mean. Well, it's brand spanking new. We've never used it because they put these things in trucks called windows, and they go down so the dirty cigarettes can go out there. Don't do it too close to home, though. One summer, I flicked a Newport near the jerry can and generator outside Jason's No Questions wood shack off the 36, and let's just say sparks weren't just flying inside that day. It was like a fairy tale. If you've enjoyed this genuine page from Low Rent Boozburb's book, let me know in the comments and I'll see about reading another page sometime soon. I have seen an actual car on fire. I've seen a real gas tanker truck on fire. Not Hollywood, no special effects. What I saw of the exploding car makes me inclined to think the car was loaded with explosives. Gasoline would not do that. MAGA Tears. You liberals make me laugh. MAGA Tears. Speaker Mike Johnson is here to save us from evil, and you are mocking him with your little show, Baldy. MAGA Tears. But it's clear he won't be going down as easy as Lauren Boebert after one act and a plastic cup of Chardonnay. I was feeling left out and a little thirsty, so I slid open the back window and said, Cam. At first, I thought it was a little mean, and then he educated me that it doesn't really hurt and threw one at the side of my head. It kind of did, but they also... Turns out, my husband thought he could bring policies back from his time in Michigan, along with the Calvin and Hobbes Kid Rock tattoo and the fungus on his lip. He hides with facial hair. Thanks so much for watching. Help me out by joining us in the comments, sharing this video with a friend, and following me on social media. I am a one-man show here, from script to screen, the editing, even the graphics. Please throw me a tip with the easy PayPal link or hit that super thanks button, and be sure to check out my mugs that go great with those MAGA Tears. I am a stand-up comedian. I've played in 35 countries, and I've toured with Jim Jefferies for nearly 10 years. I have 3 albums and a brand new EP from my opening set on Jim's latest Netflix special. You can stream these on Spotify, Apple Music, or catch them on SiriusXM. Thanks for helping me make this show possible. Life's short. Be cool, be kind, take care.